All right, guys, we need to talk about this because I love a theory restart. I really do. I love the game. You guys can see my account absolutely busted. We're currently in Master 1 rank. Like, we're going crazy, man. But I want to talk about this because this is a little bit frustrating, and I do feel like the theory restart devs are moving way too fast, and they need to focus on, just keeping the game alive, which they're doing. Like, the game is great right now. Keep the game alive, just keep delivering content, and just keep, making like improve the game, keep making improvements that can actually benefit everybody. But the problem here is that they are making changes to these bosses that pretty much affects characters in a way where these characters are pretty much getting nerfed. So I'm going to go into more details here. So I don't have Shadow Sonia, but apparently, if we come over here to the standard banner, there we go. So apparently, all right, Shadow Sonia, this character, she didn't receive a nerf, I would say, but Shadow Sonya was really, really good against Aurora and Threshold. So the main thing that Shadow Sonya is known for is her damage over time. That's what she's really good for, damage over time. But the fact that they made one of the bosses in Threshold, which is Aurora, immune to damage over time, Shadow Sonya is now just completely, I wouldn't say unusable, but she's just completely like, yeah, I'm gonna say unusable. He's unusable against Aurora. Like she's not doing much against Aurora. So we come back over here to Threshold. It's just so ridiculous how they're making these changes to the point where it's literally taking these characters and nerfing them to the ground. So Aurora, right? This boss right here, Shadow Sonya was the go-to character for this boss. But the Theory Restart devs decided to make Aurora immune to damage over time. So this is not only going to affect Shadow Sonya, but it's also going to affect other characters like, let's say, Selene, right? Selene, she has damage over time in her kit. You guys can see she has damage over time. So this is going to affect dot units in the future. It's not just Shadow Sonya, but it's going to be dot units in general. So the fact that they're just, making these hot fixes without letting us know is a little bit annoying. And they did have like a maintenance yesterday. Like, we had a maintenance yesterday, and I tried to read the details from like the maintenance, like the patch notes, but they didn't really include the fact that Aurora, they pretty much like made the boss immune to damage over time. So I'm reading this over here. I see crit up, I see fixed extended duration issue, blah blah blah. Now I'm trying to look for Aurora. I don't fucking see it, right? I see fixed abnormal enemy buffs for Doki Doki, but when it comes to Aurora, I don't see the bug. And this is what the devs had to say. Now I don't think this is a dev, but this person pretty much gives details as to what's going on. This person says many feelings are valid as we had our faults here without giving prior notice to the hotfix. But again, not gaslighting, and it was a real bug fix, as it was in the description before the hotfix, and this was all unintended consequences. I'm not sure why they didn't want damage over time being as strong on launch, and I agree there probably could have been a better way to balance it rather than disabling it on Aurora. But it doesn't mean we lied or that it wasn't a genuine bug fix that led to some unintended backlash. The bug also wasn't realized by the devs immediately, as players weren't fighting the boss until a few days in. Once it was realized, it was fixed like any other bug, though this one unfortunately came with some baggage. Buffs and nerfs are only supposed to happen at the end of PvP seasons with prior notice and patch notes, and that will continue to be the plan forward. This wasn't done as a post-launch nerf because Shadow Sonya was too strong. Making that clear, it was the original intention from launch as was seen in the boss description. So they're pretty much saying that it was never their intention, to just make the boss like completely immune to damage over time and just like, completely screw over these damage over time units. But at the same time, that's exactly what you guys did. Like, you literally made Aurora immune to damage over time. And when we take a look at the Pride tier list here, this was literally updated like 3 days ago. It says, it seems that Aurora was changed compared to final beta, and now she's immune to damage over time. we have adjusted the tier list to take that into account. Characters like Shadow Sonia dropped from T0 to the lowest tier. She went from T0, right? So you guys can see this is Aurora. She went from T0 to T5. Are you kidding me? Like, that's just bad. You guys can see they also put Silence in T5 too. Like, every single damage over time character, they're gonna go to T5 against Aurora because they just completely removed it. And I feel like that's not a good way for them to, you know, handle the whole situation. Like, if people are one-tapping Aurora with Shadow Sonia, then I can understand why you guys would, you know, make some changes. But to completely disable it, you guys are literally making the character unusable against that boss. Like, nobody can really use that character against that boss because damage over time does not work. So she is literally not usable whatsoever. And there are a lot of people out there who invested in Shadow Sonia for Aurora, right? But after this change happened, she's not gonna do shit for you, man. If you are, you know, planning on using Shadow Sonia for Aurora, you gotta change your plans, man. You gotta change your strategy, man. You gotta change your goals, because that's not gonna cut it for you anymore. You're gonna have to use Rosa instead, because I'm using Rosa for Aurora, right? I don't have Shadow Sonia, but this change over here where like she's just completely immune to damage over time, it literally like completely obliterates the idea of you using characters, at their full potential, right? Instead of them completely removing damage over time, it would have been better if they said something like, oh, the amount of damage that, you know, damage over time units deal is, you know, like they reduce the amount of damage they can deal. Something like that. That would be fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, Shadow Sonia can still deal crazy damage, but she's not one-tapping Aurora or two-tapping her, right? The damage is decreased just a little bit. That would be way better. But to just completely disable damage over time from this boss, come on, man. You know, like, a lot of people invested in this character, man, and for you guys to do something like that, you're pretty much saying, yeah, fuck you for investing in Shadow Sonia. Go use another character. And if they want to do this change, right, let players refund all the resources that they invested in Shadow Sonia. Let them refund. Let them get all the resources back, and they can invest in another character like Rosa. Like, if you guys are going to make a change like that, give players their resources back, and they can invest in another character. But unfortunately, there is not an event right now that allows you to refund all the resources you invest in the character. You can't, like, you know, reset a character. There was an event like that, but it's already over. So if you invested in Shadow Sonia for Aurora, yeah, you're pretty much cooked, bro. Like, damage over time does not work anymore. So there's really nothing you can do about this, because they just nerfed her to the absolute ground, which is just frustrating. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys, when it comes to the whole you know, hotfix situation in Theory Restart. And I don't like it. I don't like it when they do stuff like this. You know, they don't let us know. They do things behind our back, and then after they got caught, like after they get caught, then they say, oh yeah, guys, it was never our intention. It's like, bro, then just let us know. Let us know, put in the patch notes, and let us refund the character. Not refund the character, but let's refund the resources. That simple. And if you guys are going to make changes like this in the future, I'm sorry, man, but all the characters that I invested in, I promise you, bro, if they make a change that completely nerfs Lily, that's gonna be fucking cooked, bro. Like, if they do something like, let's say when she does her basic attack, right, and then you know, you have the assist. What if they put something like, oh, characters can no longer do assist against this boss? That would be complete bullshit, bro. So that's like, when they do stuff like this, it pretty much sets a precedent that they can make changes to these enemies, to these bosses, anytime they want, and these changes can literally determine the future of, you know, the characters you have on your account. Is that character going to be usable in the future? Are they going to be unplayable? Who fucking knows? Because these devs can just pretty much flip the switch whenever they want. So once again, man, I love this game, but at the same time, a Theory Restart devs, you got to get your shit together. Gotta, you know, let us know what's going on. and don't make changes that's going to take a character from top tier to shit tier. It just doesn't feel good. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll be catching you guys on the next one. Adios.